So, hi, my name is Dr. Adam Dinitz, and the problem I am solving is actually affordable housing. I use modular technology, typically containers, but when we can't do that, we flow into other things like uh, I'm helping Miss Payne on the call, on the Zoom right now to do permanent housing, well, a permanent structure for temporary housing for homeless folks. I'm working on a whole bunch of tiny home little projects here and there. And I got my sights set on some other deals also. But actually, fixing affordable housing with modular tech is super neat. We do a whole bunch of things though, because that's not the only thing that we do that is good. We also try to do things as best as possible. And the example for that would be our shop foreman uh, at our factory where we actually build the houses lived inside the factory before we got it. So he was homeless. Now he's our foreman. We also work with a lot of ex-incarcerated folks, and we try to also obtain blighted properties and make them livable again. And we do that with all new construction, not rehabbing old stuff, simply because where I look at properties, they are not reusable in any shape or form. So that is what we do. As a side note, I'm also a board member of the Central Georgia Coalition for Black Businesses. That happens to be one of the 12 Black chambers in Georgia. And we do lots of work in the Macon, Middle Georgia area to try to promote Black businesses and make them as strong as possible. And being a good resource for other business owners and giving out as much help that way is definitely something I like to do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. So, what really influenced you to really just get really just to go down this journey?
Well, I've worked for really large companies, like a Fortune 6 healthcare company, and I know just how bad large corporations can be when it comes to how they treat their users, how they treat their customers, how they treat their employees, and how they treat their supply chain. It is horrible. And that was something that led me to leave the corporate world completely, never go back. And I've been out since 2018. So in my previous life, I was really, really geeky. Did IT work for over 20 years. I also have my own IT consulting firm. I don't even talk about. But I really saw a need to do the right thing in business. And originally, I had an idea, and we could probably talk about that in a little bit. But I saw a need for someone to do business properly. And doing business properly, you just build up your own tribe. And it's an awesome way of working it. So, yeah, we try to do no wrong. We really do try to do the right thing. If it's working with all minority partners, to the only place I might not be able to work with a minority owned entity would be financing, and I try not to work with banks.
I love it. I love it. So, speaking of just planning everything out and making sure you have everything in order. Um, what is the most critical element of your business plan that really sets you apart from from your competitors?
It is the doing no harm part. Where Google tried and failed to do that, we are still small enough to make sure we can help minority owned businesses, that we can actually do. My entire Braille team, my my banker, my accountant, my real estate lawyer, my business lawyer, any IT folks I need that aren't me, they are all minority owned businesses. My supply chains are minority owned businesses. My factory is a minority owned business. Therefore, we are able to do exactly what I want to do, which is really make a positive impact that way. The way I can think of it is kind of like Hank Aaron. When he was in, he brought baseball up to being over 24% black players, and now it's less than 5. That is the wrong way. Hank Aaron did it the right way. He was awesome, and he brought a whole bunch of people into it, and that inspired other people to do it. We just need to do the same thing, but instead of sports, because our likelihood of getting onto a professional sports team is 1 in about 1 billion, well, slightly less, but the numbers are astronomical. But getting good business leaders, that we can do. Working with partners and being meaningful about who you do business with, and being able to incorporate that kind of cost into your business and still give a fair market value or a below fair market value product is exactly what you can do. And it's a way of lifting up everybody.
Most definitely, most definitely. So speaking of the market, can you share us a surprising insight you discovered doing your market research that shaped your business idea?
Not all my ideas are good. That's really because before I went to modular construction, I really wanted to build. Hold on, Alexa, stop. Sorry, but before we began doing the modular residential stuff and affordable housing, I wanted to make safe and open-minded camping grounds for people in RVs and stuff. And it was a horrible business idea. It would have been easy to start. And then my business mentor looked at my business plan and he's like, no, nope, start over. Nope, just don't do it. And for like an hour and a half, he told me no. And I tried to come up with every excuse too. He's like, no, you're never going to be profitable. And it was such a, I like the idea, but it's something I would have to do at a loss. So yeah, sometimes you just have to take the advice of a mentor, which I have to say, if no one has a business mentor and you need a free one, score.org is where you go. They're super good at it, and they have people in every U.S. territory and state. Atlanta has a couple of hundred people volunteering. Middle Georgia has like 11 at the same point in time. I like the guys in Middle Georgia better than the people in Atlanta, and I've heard the same thing from others. But your likelihood of getting them for a large period of time is a lot less. But asking people that have been in the business what's up is the way you get ahead. To know what shortcomings to avoid, to take their advice. I mean, if I was as smart as I was at 18, I guess I could have done things right off the bat. But now that I'm 50, I need to take the advice of other people because I now know how much I don't know, which is a lot.
Hey, we need those mentors. I think we all need those mentors. That's one of the reasons, we make sure that we keep a couple mentors in our backyard here at the Mob as well, man. We need accountability partners for the most part. No matter what you call it, even if it's your best friend, if they really got your best, in mind and they know that field, definitely we need some type of guidance and we need somebody to tell us no sometimes. So real quick, I know you be working on some big projects. When it comes to, and I really want to touch on, module 4, which is financial literacy and budgeting. So, when it comes to approaching a budget for your business, what strategies do you use to ensure financial stability?
This part's super hard. We need to look at each project, see how each project is working out, and can we spend 100 hours on a project before we ask someone for money? Or do we, hey, before we begin working out, this is going to cost you $10,000 just for us to begin starting stuff. And a lot of what we do are with nonprofits and things like that, other entities that don't really have the money up front, and we're waiting for the development loans and grants, and we're waiting for all of that. So budgeting can be a serious pain in the ass. I can tell you my other two business partners actually have side hustles that they do, which makes their lives incredibly crazy. Um, so we don't meet up in person a lot. Most of what we do is remote. Uh, and when it comes to meeting clients, I'm usually the most flexible for that. But when it comes to setting our budget, that's we keep on learning how to do it better and better. There's no good way of doing it yet. I suspect this will be a lot easier in about 2 years. Uh, we need to get it to the point where we have our millions coming in first, because right now we're still at the um, overextended point in our business. 2 years in, just over 2 years, so that does make a big difference. Um, because I don't have anyone actually renting units yet, um, which makes it just an expensive business.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. So I want to skip a couple modules. I want to go to legal and ethical considerations because I know you was talking a lot about, really just doing things right when it comes to business. What legal or ethical dilemma have you encountered in your business journey, and what did you learn from
I wouldn't go into business with my partners right off the bat without the proper paperwork. And my partners have been working together in other businesses for over 20 years. And I'm like, that doesn't work. You guys are younger than me. I'm going to want to retire. I'm going to want you guys to be able to buy me out. Neither of you guys are married. I don't want you guys getting married while we have a company and all of a sudden get a divorce and that person's trying to take 1/6 of our business. I'm like, we need to have an exit strategy. We need to know if you guys want to get out or if I want to get out, how we're going to buy each other out. If I die, what's going to happen? I'm like, we need real agreements and agreements that I can't even think of what the outcomes are going to be. So talk to my lawyer about it. And my partners were like, you need contracts for that? I'm like, yeah, you really, really do. Because if you're going into business with other people, you need to have more than just the honeymoon aspect of the first couple of years of doing business with someone. Sometimes honeymoons don't even last that long. So it can be really problematic. So that was one of the big hurdles. And then other legal hurdles are the not in my backyard type situations, in which case we said, oh, we're going to get that everywhere. By the way we want to construct, doing modular tech, either building something with a frame that's the same as a container or using a container to actually create structures, small or large. So the way we got around that is we are certified. Well, hold on. My architect wrote the codes for Atlanta for what modular technology and container building should look like. And we also wrote it for the state of Georgia. Therefore, now we are able to put our units everywhere except one little city in Georgia that actually says no modular tech, no containers whatsoever. But there's only one. And with a state with so many counties and hundreds of cities, it's no big deal. But what we're able to do is we're able to bring our product in as long as we're zoned right. If we're zoned for a single house, we can plop a small or a massive house. The local government can't even inspect the house. What they can inspect, because we're certified through the state, what they can inspect is what they do inspect is where the water gets hooked up, where the sewage gets hooked up, where the power gets hooked up, and how we're connected to the ground. And then stuff like our concrete and our sidewalks, making sure our setbacks are set. Other than that, the only way they get inside our structures if we invite them. They don't actually have a legal right to go inside our structures when we're first setting up. It is incredibly interesting, and a lot of inspectors really like that because their jobs are easier. So that was a major hurdle to get over. Being able to be like, well, we're actually deemed a house. We're not deemed a trailer. I wouldn't want to live in a trailer park. Being a person that lives in something that's 8 feet wide and 26 feet long, I don't want to live in a trailer or a trailer park at all. I want drywall. I want nice things. So basing it on that, and I'm a minimalist, so my business partners keep me honest with that too, because I won't over minimalize anybody else's build besides my own. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I got one more question for you, real quick. If you guys have any questions for Adam, make sure you guys blow up the chat so we can open up the floor in a minute.
Yo,
The floor.
hell yeah.
Go ahead and mute yourself, Valid.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, you good. And Adam, when you get done, actually, can you make me the host again? But yeah, you
probably
guys have
I
any,
can also share. I can share this stuff for LinkedIn, or not for LinkedIn, for Skip if you want, real quick.
yeah.
You want to go over that?
Yeah, let's knock that out real quick. I think that's very important, especially for everybody on this call. So let's knock that.
Okay, cool.
Move on.
So I'm actually going to stop my video for that part and just do my screen share
Okay.
because that will give me the best bandwidth. Okay, so now okay, as long as that box isn't getting in the way. So this is Skip, and we've been talking about doing Skip grants all the time because every Tuesday and every Friday at 3 o'clock, they have this instant grant right here. These things are awesome. They give out a couple $1,000 grants, and then the third grant is either $500 or $1,000, and sometimes they do 4 or 5 grants in a day. The most I've ever seen them give out is $5,000 in a day. And when I say this is a stupidly easy grant to get, let me show you what's up here. So these are the grants, and then let's see. So the application is actually 3 questions long. This is nothing. And you can answer these in the long run. You want to answer these well, but for the instant grants, all you have to do is put in an answer and then apply to them. Because then once it's time to actually do the grant, which Tuesdays and Fridays at 3 p.m., what happens, this is me being geeky. Let me unlock my phone. So on the actual day of the grants, let's see. Can you guys actually read my phone? Can you see this screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So when you actually go to do one of the instant grants, what will happen is you're going to see it pop up like this, where you have a PIN number and an entry number. Write those down, type them into a browser window, into somewhere, so you can cut and paste them into chat. Because these little numbers here are what are really, really important. Because when the grant actually, when it's time to actually do them, let me get back to here. When it's time to actually roll for these, what you're going to have to do is go and watch them. Instant insights right here. You go to the Skip YouTube, and this is where the YouTube vibes are. And you have to subscribe. You have to give it a thumbs up. And then once you're subscribed, you'll be able to write in over here. And that is where you type in your entry and your PIN number, because this grant is stupid. They spin a wheel, and if they call your entry number, you put in your PIN, you win $1,000. It is luck. And your odds are about 1 in 1,000 to win $1,000. So when it comes to easy ways of winning money, this is it. But that's not the only thing Skip is good for, because that would be a complete waste of time. Let me see if I can get this thing to pop out. Oh, hold on. There we go. Oh, that's why. All right. So the other thing Skip is super good for, and this is such a quick overview. Here, wait, here's my flex. Let's go to my funding. My funding, I have applied to 98 grants for $621,800. I have come in the second round of funding for a $10,000 grant and a $50,000 commercial vehicle grant. For my business, that would be killer awesome. But what happens here is this is just how you can see what's going on. You can also see, where is it at? Grant involved. you can see all your answers to how you fill things out for grants. And what you want is you want this bar to be green. If the bar is yellow or red, rewrite it. If you fill out your grant information, and I don't have any that aren't filled out right now, all of mine are applied. You see this little blue applied? That means I've applied to all of them. But when you're filling them out, if it's red or orange, redo it. And my recommendation is, if you're not going to pay for Skip Plus, which is fine, write your answer and then copy and paste it into an AI agent, chatbot, any of them, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, whoever you use, Copilot, whoever you use, cut in there, ask it to write it more professionally for a grant, and then copy and paste it back in here until you get green. Especially if you're doing like this is a pretty easy grant to get. This only goes to people on this platform. So it's a $10,000 grant. You fill this one out. If your answers aren't green, you're basically not going to make it. And knowing that they have about 200,000 people, that actually makes these some of the easiest grants to get. Coach K, she has some good ones too. But some of these are nationwide grants, like Verizon. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people applying to these. So the Skip ones, your odds are better. But some of these are just easy. Galaxy grants, these are usually $2,075 to about $3,700. These are really easy to fill out too. You can also do more than grants. Oh, maybe. I don't know why it's not clicking. I think it's because I'm sharing. But you can also get financing information. There we go. And then you can actually see how to improve stuff for your business. To be honest, I don't do loans through these guys. But if you go and you ask someone for $30 million, $40 million, it's not going to be through here. These are for small little loans. And when I say small little loans, I mean loans for less than $5 million, which some of you, that might make your eyes bulge. But when you're doing affordable housing and you're building 1,000 units, $5 million barely buys the land. So I'm not being snobby with my statements. So I only do the clicks for the grants. That's what interests me here. But definitely check this thing out. This thing is totally awesome. And the other thing that's really important is to make sure, if you're doing the lives, that you download this app right here, because this is the only way you get your PIN number. It is not on the website. So you have to go in here to get to it. So I think that would be the easiest way of doing Skip.
So what advice would you give entrepreneurs seeking funding for the first time based on your own experience?
Okay, so depending on what you're doing, if you're looking for big money, don't ask family, because then you're just looking to ruin friendships. And keep big money in perspective. Family members up to maybe $100,000. After that, you're really going to aggravate people. And I'm not trying to sound, everybody has at least somebody in their family that has too much money. If they obtain it legally, if they win the lottery, who knows? I know a guy, his wife died last month, one of my cousins, but he has won $1 million in the lottery and he just won $65,000. The guy needed to borrow money from us to do the funeral. And then a couple of days later, he won $65,000. He's the kind of guy you might be able to borrow money from. Same point in time. You really want to try to find people that have done this before. Asking around, networking a lot is a good way of doing it. Finding out, hey, I'm looking to do a project like this. Where do I start? And SCORE is a good place to ask, hey, where do we get funding? Things like that. Because when a mentor can tell you you're being stupid, they can also usually tell you, hey, this might help. using non-traditional banks. I forgot what they're called, but Newtown Macon happens to be one of them. They're a non-traditional lender. So I can get a loan from them up to a couple $1,000,000, but as low as like $5,000. And it might be a little bit higher percentage than a bank, but they're also a lot more lenient. They'll be like, hey, if you have 80% or if you have 20% of your funding, we'll give you the other 80%. But our rate might be 8% instead of, I think right now we're at like 6.2 for good credit. So those kind of things help. And as soon as I get off the call, I know I'm going to remember exactly what those organizations are. But you never know where you're going to find people that want to invest. I have presented projects in front of the coalition, the chamber that I'm a board member of, and I presented a project that I wanted to do it with all small investors to make it as big of a pain in the ass on me as possible, but to give little people the ability to do something really, really grand. And I had a whole bunch of mom and pops willing to throw in $5, $10, $20,000, which was just amazing because that build was slated to be $6.1 million. And I was going to do it by a whole bunch of really small investors. And the way I could do that is if I do a build for $6.1 million, when I'm done with the build and it's worth $12.8 million, as soon as I get renters in there, then we're able to turn around, get a conventional mortgage, pay everybody back plus 10%, which the people that invest with me are typically doing it because it's the right thing to do, not to get rich. So you never know where you're going to be able to do it, who you're going to be able to pitch to. I can tell you guys, I do business networking constantly. If I don't do business mixers 7 times a month, I'm having a bad month. I've done up to 15 to the point where I don't remember names. I don't remember faces. If I don't put down in my contact list, when I put you in my phone, where I met you, and maybe something about you, like maybe you have 6 kids, or you were a goofy looking guy with a beard with a red stripe, whatever it was, I'm going to put that in my phone so I can try to remember. And I do something really, really geeky, which is I will ask to take your picture. I've learned that because I want to know who people are. And if I need to look you up, I need to have all your information. And I don't typically do business cards. And when I do, I write on them. I write on them a lot because, but you never know what you're going to look at because I try to find niche places to do my networking also. So if someone's into contracting, if you do anything to do with building, if you do anything to do with real estate, if you have anything to do with investing in real estate, or a supplier to construction companies, I have a place that I do networking just for that. And other than having people that have vastly different views on politics, it's where some of the biggest money is in Georgia for investing. So I might have to deal with someone that's a complete ass because they have a couple $1 billion to throw into a project. I want to do $1 billion projects. So I put up with that. And then sometimes I apologize to the people working at those mixing events that they have to put up with people like them. So you never know what you're going to have to do and what you're going to have to put up with to see what's right and wrong. So, but sometimes you can actually get investors in the weirdest way because I pitch my company everywhere. I saw someone that at a mall trying to take a selfie in the wind outside. And I'm like, hey, you want me to take your picture? And then we got up to talking and she wants to do a project in Albany, Georgia. In Albany, I pronounce it like a northerner. But it was one of these situations where I might have a $4 million build out there simply because I helped someone who wanted to take a selfie. So you never know where you're going to get it, and you never know who has money and who doesn't.
Network, build those relationships, man, authentic relationships. And, That's what I already been talking more about, organic content, organic relationships, just all the way down to just checking on somebody every now and then. They don't have, you don't have to cold call people and always try to sell people's heads off. Sometimes just being a human being, having an organic relationship with them is really, the biggest, goal. You want to really make sure that you had those relationships in order for sure. So I appreciate you with that one. Cece
With
said,
that though,
she said, can she hear your pitch?
so with that though, you also have to look out for parasites, people that are going to just drain you, and never pay you. So you have to be careful about that too.
Yeah.
And I am the kind of person that will offer all sorts of help to the point where I'll get sucked into stuff and waste hours in crap that I have nothing to do with.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, I definitely get that for sure. But hey, it comes with it for sure. I love it, man. I appreciate you, Adam, for sure. I appreciate you, man. Make sure you definitely, if you haven't posted info in the chat, maybe post it again for the new people, because I know when they come in late, they don't see all of the older messages in the chat. Even though I'm going to send out the chat logs, you can always access the chat logs and the recaps on the Mastering Our Business landing page. But for good old sake, for people to just copy and paste real quick, make sure you post that in the chat. I also posted.
Can I give one warning about my contact info? If
So,
you're going to follow me on non-traditional places, those are not business accounts. My Threads, my Blue Sky, those are personal accounts, and you're going to hear my actual opinion about stuff. So I'm just going to give you the warning right there. I am not politically correct, but I'm on the right side of history. But feel free, check me out on all my stuff, because I am definitely an open networker.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Adam. Y'all definitely need to link up with Adam, man. He's a great person to link up with him, man, and just, really just pick your brain, man. I love picking Adam brain for sure, and I appreciate you for coming on and dropping these gems. Especially going over that skip grant application. We've been getting some questions on that. If you need the links to apply, we actually put the links in the group chat, in the chat, where it said apply for skip grants here. That's for the $5,000 and $10,000 grant. You can also access to the instant grant on that same website as well. Also, we put, of course, our website on there if you want to learn more about the M.O.B. I appreciate you guys.